I mean, we don't have to worry so much about your framing because we've got a viewer waiting, and we are live. Good morning. All right. I hope you noticed that the title of today's Me More Monday episode is Biden, the no bump chump, and I'm a little aggravated actually because I came across this article that called him the no bump chump, and now I can't find the damn thing. But I've still got a few articles to support the position. Here's what's interesting. We came out of the Democrat National Convention, and Biden didn't get the bump in the polls. There have been two others that didn't get a bump coming out of the polls. And that was Kerry and, was it McGovern? I think McGovern was the other one. Basically, this would be the third time that the nominee actually came out of the national convention without a bump in the polls. And
well, that's because Hunter Biden keeps doing all the bumps.
I was going to make a joke about Hunter Biden's cocaine in just a minute. I already planned on one. But you can't tell too many cocaine jokes, can you? Not when you're talking about the Bidens. Shoo, buddy. So, yeah, no bump for Biden. Bumps for Hunter. That's all. So, funny story. I've got this article from The Guardian, and God, you talk about out of touch. And I mean, the picture they picked for him. Good God, look at that picture. Ooh, the Democrat convention went off without hitches, but was it a success? Okay, let's just start with that headline. The Democrat convention went off without hitches. Oh, y'all. To say that the Democrat convention went off without hitches. Okay. Their videos started when they were supposed to. But they were universally panned everywhere for just atrocious production quality. Right? I mean, okay. Look at this show. We live stream every morning.
Except for last week. Sorry, guys. Everything went wrong.
Yeah, last week was bad. Sorry. We're back. Things happened. But, new developments. We'll get there in a minute. You broke my train of thought. Oh, so basically, every morning, we've got nice, sharp video, good, clean audio. We have a hiccup from time to time, but that's live is hurt me plenty mode. This is hard mode. And so, stuff happens. But, and I will give Joe Biden, to his credit, I will give him this. He did pass the bar of expectation, which is to say, he spoke. He didn't speak especially well. Now, in his speech, he did not trail off and say a bunch of craziness.
Oh, yeah, because he was on a teleprompter.
Quite to the level that he has before. I mean, when he tried to say, I'm for the right, and he tried to say, I'm for the light, and it sure did sound like I'm for the white in this season of darkness. Is that right, Joe? Because, I mean, we were listening, and as you've told us before, poor kids are just as smart as white kids. And, unlike blacks, other races are massively diverse, right, Joe? Especially the Latinos. Because apparently, funny thing about Latinos in America, you basically have two broad categories of Latinos in America. You have the ones that actively support Democrats, and then you have the ones that came here legally. You have the ones that immigrated under color of law and are productive citizens. So, yeah, you have sanctuary city Latinos, and Republicans. Because, and that seems like I'm painting with a broad brush, but let me tell you what happens with a lot of them. The ones that come here as criminals and bypass the system, they come in and they're immediately greeted by leftists that offer them the world. Here's a pile of welfare, here's a pile of free medicine, here's a free house, here's free food. And all you got to do is not get caught by La Migra. And if you want to not get caught by La Migra, all you got to do is stay in a sanctuary city where you will be somehow allowed to vote. And if not to vote, you will at least be counted in the census for the purposes of the apportionment of resources, and you will be counted in the polls for the purposes of reporting the support levels for the current political candidate, whatever the cycle is. Right now it's the general election cycle. That's where we're headed. The Democrat convention went off without hitches. We're talking about a convention where in more than one case, they didn't have enough supporters to fill the 30 blocks on the Zoom screen, so they replicated several. On a later one, they did half as many blocks. They did 15 blocks, 5 across top and 3 down, and they just left 2 of them blank.
Yeah, how hard would it have been? You
couldn't find 15 people?
Yeah, how hard would it have been to have just given somebody $100 and said, sit here, clap when the red light comes on?
Yeah.
I mean, and, speaking of production quality, man, Joe Biden didn't deliver that speech live. They did 3 or 4 takes of it, and that was the best take.
I've been wondering about that. Because obviously it's being reported that it was done live. And there's an argument that it was done live to tape, which is you do the whole thing in one take as if you're doing it live, and then you just publish that, which for the purposes of the functional concerns right now, that's the same technical concern as doing it live, whether or not you can make it through the thing without fumbling. Now, if you watch his speech, he actually did fumble quite a lot. There are several places where he just fumbles over himself and just gives up and goes on to the next sentence. But to his credit, he just drove forward. So you'll be amazed how well you can just kind of overlook somebody's minor gaffe when it's just I failed to complete a word, I flubbed my syllabic termination, I didn't make it to the end of the sentence, I skipped a thought. Those kind of things can be forgiven if you punch through them hard and just keep rolling. They add up over time, though. I mean, in the nearly half an hour that his speech was, there were a lot of them, so they really stuck out like a sore thumb. Then there's this whole thing about rising from a season of darkness.
Is this an RPG video game? I mean, what? Is the Chosen One going to be reborn under the 3rd red star on the 8th day of the 8th month, and they will wield the magical MacGuffin and slay the evil overlord? Because
no,
Orange
it's
Man
Joe
bad.
Biden. I think he literally believes that it's only black people burning the cities and we need to put them all back in chains. I mean, let's be real. Joe Biden authored the Biden crime legislation. If what you want is to put the blacks back in chains and lock them up and put them all in jail, Biden's your guy. It's kind of what he does. Oh, and so is Kamala. She's not your guy. I mean, she's your girl for that job. She's not Big Mike. Big Mike!
No, I think they did minimum 2 or 3 takes.
Alex McDonald says, please, that was recorded off prompter and he still fluffed it. I think you mean flubbed it, but that's an American thing. It's okay. We still love you, Alex. that dog won't hunt. But no, I actually agree with you on that, Alex. I think at a minimum, what we're looking at is they did, 2 or 3 dozen takes and took the best one.
I don't
And
know that they
frankly,
did dozens. He doesn't have enough energy for that.
it has actually occurred to me there are some other possibilities. It may have been one take live, and he just did a crap load of cocaine. I mean, it may just or Adderall or what have you. They may have just dumped 4 gallons of Red Bull straight up his ass with an IV, and let him run with it. You just here's enough chemical augmentation to achieve peak Biden mental acuity, and boy, if that's the case, he flubbed the way he did. That's deeply concerning. Here's the other one though. The deep fake is a very real thing. It would not have been difficult at all, given that the subject is in on the gag, to literally just produce a deep fake of Biden delivering the speech. So, fluffed it. To ruin or mar by a mistake or blunder, they fluffed their chance to participate in the playoffs. I have never heard the word fluffed used in that way. Usually, Alex, when we use the word fluff here, we use it to say that they overhyped, that they were artificially inflating the appearance or the aesthetic or the value of something. But it's not an argument worth having. Love you, brother. Anyway, so what do you think about the deep fake idea there, Cameron?
I think if this was going to be some kind of deep fake, they'd have had him make fewer mistakes.
Why? Wouldn't that make it less believable?
They're not trying to fool us.
The man has literally said that he's a walking gaffe machine, and has repeatedly referenced having a stutter to excuse his common gaffes. So if he was to go through entirely without mistakes, that would just be.
Chris, you got to think. You and I think. The people that they're trying to swindle, they, well, let's be polite and say they don't think the way that we do.
That's fair, I suppose. But suffice it to say, the headline, "The Democratic Convention Went Off Without Hitches," is, that's a pretty generous claim, guys. That's a pretty intensely generous claim. Now, let's take a peek real quick at PJ Media. I think they had no, I'm sorry. It was this one. They had damn it, they didn't have it. I had a chart pulled up. Anyway, Joe enjoyed 0 bump after the convention. He just fell flat. The enemy wasn't buying it. So, all right, we're coming up on the 15-minute mark. How you doing for time there, Cameroon?
I have a few more minutes. The other thing I really wanted to mention was just the optics of the fact that, because look, Joe Biden didn't write this speech, right?
Well, obviously.
I mean, somebody wrote the speech for him.
Well, I tell you what. Let's hold on just a second. We're like I said, we're about to hit the 15-minute mark. Let's get to the question of plagiarism after this word from our sponsors. Are you tired of bugs, dirty air, and weather? Consider space. There's lots to see. It's pet friendly, and you'll sleep happily in your hermetically sealed pods. And most importantly, none of that pesky air to have qualities. If this sounds appealing to you, it's an intense, long training process, and I suggest you contact Elon Musk on Twitter, and we'll be looking forward to his sarcastic response. Okay, so Yeah, the funny story about somebody else writing the wow, that's an interesting way to phrase it. Somebody else wrote Joe Biden's speech. Somebody else wrote a lot of Joe Biden's speeches. Is this the third or the ninth time that Joe's gotten his ass handed up because of what's that word? Plagiarism.
Yeah, where I was going with it was, I mean, how bad is it optically for you to be Joe Biden's speechwriter and you plagiarize other speeches? I mean, it just
And
like
what's funny is he plagiarized mostly Biden's other speeches. So there's an argument to be made that there, since some of the plagiarism, and I'll use air quotes on that one, was plagiarism of other Biden speeches, that's not actually plagiarism. But it here's how it plays on the optics. Biden's weak campaign and let's face it, almost total absence from the campaign suggests that not only are the Democrats pretty much committed to losing, they're just kind of resigned to their fate, and all of the campaign to date is just a matter of keeping up appearances. That Biden couldn't even be bothered to have an original speech for the convention, for his nomination acceptance speech. It just smells like phoning it in. Like, I don't really care that much. You know what? I'll just read this one.
Yes and no. I mean, I don't know exactly what Trump is going to say on the final night of the RNC, but he is going to talk about winning. He is going to talk about socialism being bad. He is going to talk about America being a good, great, and moral country.
So yeah, we know what Trump's going to say.
Trump has been saying damn near the exact same thing, especially with regard to trade deals. So why do we deliberately give ourselves such an imbalance?
We're going to win. I want to win. We the American people, we deserve to win. We don't win anymore. You know, people don't do good deals. We don't win anymore. And when I win, if I win, we're going to win, because when I win, we win. That's almost verbatim.
I mean, yeah.
That's almost a verbatim quote. But the guys at Charisma on Command and what's his name, Scott Adams, the guy that wrote Dilbert. They've done some fantastic. They've done some fantastic heuristic analytics of Trump's speeches and speech styles. And one of the things that they pointed out is Trump is a master of persuasion. And part of what he does that makes him so effective is he uses simple ideas, because by a wide margin, you're stupid. People are dumb. If you've met the average person, you've met a person with an average intellect, which is around 100. That's a muddy figure. An IQ of 100 is supposed to be dead mean. The actual average is a little lower than that, and for everybody who's keeping track, that means that half of them are dumber than that. 20% of Americans have an IQ right around 90. 85, below which 15% of Americans sit, is the basic minimum at which you're able to essentially read, understand, and follow a set of simple instructions. So it may be that more people vote for Donald, not because they're too dumb to see the difference between the two candidates, but because the Democrat is foolish enough to overwhelm them with statistics. So you've got two chunks of America who are not going to be effectively persuaded by severe statistics. Cameron, you know what? I'll mute. Do me a favor and mute yourself, because that rain noise is terrible. The weather noise is whooping our asses. Got it. So there are two broad categories of people that will not be easily persuaded by statistics that come from Democrats. One, people who are too dumb to process those statistics, and two, people who are too dumb to tolerate false statistics. So the left has a bad habit of dumping a bunch of numbers out and expecting you to just grab onto them. There's a chunk in the intellectual middle where they understand that statistics are meaningful, but they don't understand what statistics mean. Nor do they have the wherewithal to question the validity of statistics. Your average voluntary CNN watcher will never say, 25% of all women that attend college are raped? That seems a little high. I wonder where that statistic comes from. I wonder if that's a valid number. Turns out, no, it's not a valid statistic. It doesn't even come from a sampling. It comes from one stupid article, and they hammer it over and over and over again. Women make on average 27% less than a man. Oh, well, yeah, if you take all men and average their incomes and all women and average their incomes and just go ahead and don't mention that number includes Bill Gates and Zuckerberg and Bezos, and then also leave out, oh, wait a minute, across professions, there is no wage gap, but what there is there's a significantly higher amount of work done by men. And so they'll just accept a statistic and roll with it. But when you throw the simple message, look, we're going to win, we're going to win, we're going to win. The trade deals we have are bad. I'm going to make better trade deals. These are things that people can understand. And so at your lower level, they understand that a thing has been said. And at your higher level, they've already examined the false statistics that they've been assaulted with and are able to deal with the distinction between what are the false statistics and what are simple claims. This is a promise that I'm making you. I'm going to go and make a better deal. Trust me to do that, and that's what I'll do.
Yeah, thanks to the rabbit hole. I was just trying to point out that just because we know what Donald Trump is going to say, it's different from Joe Biden, because Joe Biden used to be able to give a decent speech, and he sort of chameleoned himself over the years, as it were. I mean, it's sort of like how Barack Obama evolved on the position of gay marriage. But Donald Trump has been saying almost the exact same thing for years and years and years. Yes, there's been, in particular, there's been some variance on abortion. But as far as his broad message about America being a powerful country that should negotiate better deals, I mean, he's been saying that since, 87? So the real reason I think part of Biden plagiarizing Biden is important is they wanted to give him every opportunity to not have a major screw up. It wasn't because this is what he thinks or this is what he feels. There's no way that you can say America was in this protracted period of darkness for the first few years of Trump's presidency. Obviously, the coronavirus has come along and just shit right up that nose.
Yep.
But, I mean, the economy was growing. Unemployment had fallen to, I mean, it did quite tick, it did tick just under 4%, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's effectively full employment. Like, if you've got a 96% employment and you don't have a job, it's because you ain't trying to get one. So all this stuff about coming out of the light, it's just, I mean, it's platitudes. It's things that sound good. And you go back even 5 years ago, Joe Biden could have possibly made this sound good, but that, well, it's with the stutter. But gosh, sometimes I trip up. What, Chris? You know what I was going to say. Yeah, what I was going to say.
You know the thing?
You mean God, Joe?
Is
The
is
reference
that is
to
that the thing you
God?
forgot? God?
The reference to God and the Constitution, that's what you forgot? Yeah.
Yeah. Brother, I think I'm running out of steam. You got anything else this morning?
No, you just need a giraffe. A steam-powered giraffe. It's a deep-cut musical joke.
It is.
Anyhow,
It is.
no, that's all I got. I'm actually sitting out front of my first stop, and I'm going to walk in here shortly. So,
All right, brother. All right, you be
but
safe
hey,
out there.
we's it back. Just so you guys know, seriously, this week is going to be a little strange. We could go live as early as 6:15, or it could be as late as 8 o'clock, like it was today, because we had technical issues, and then I'll be frank, I've had personal issues, and I've had to work even more hours to compensate for those personal issues. But we're back Monday through Friday.
Roger that. And we will see y'all tomorrow. Be safe out there.